all over the country.
Oh, sorry about that.
Recording in progress. Yeah, nice to see. Oh, and since we've seen Dave has joined from Oro Valley, Arizona. Actually, just talked to you, Dave. So yeah, uh, nice selection of geographic diversity tonight. So thank you all for coming. Riley, thank you for joining us. We're excited to chat with you tonight. Uh,
Thanks
the
for
way
having me.
the way we usually do these conversations is we start off kind of focused on getting to know you, Riley, the person, and then transition into Riley, the winemaker, and learn a bit about your business. And you've got a very fascinating background, so it's going to be certainly a fun conversation. And I think you're doing some really unique and interesting things with your wine, so I can't wait to get into that. But before we do, um, tell us about who Riley was pre-wine, before you got into your schooling, which was kind of wine focused. So it felt like you kind of knew at when you were in school the direction you were going, at least. Certainly, probably shaped by some of your other experiences. But prior to that, who was Riley growing up? What did you do for fun?
Yeah. I grew up in Encinitas, California, which is like kind of North County, San Diego area.
Stone Brewing.
Yeah. Yeah, Stone Brewing. It wasn't there when I was growing up, but it's a big draw now. But yeah, I was into the beach and burritos growing up.
That's San Diego in a phrase, right?
I did a lot of that. I actually I wasn't good at any sports except Irish dancing, which is a unique fact, I think. I did Irish dancing competitively for, I want to say like 15 years or more. I went to I was like a national champion in Irish dance.
Get out of here.
Which is super weird and a fun fact, I guess. Riley, I don't know if you could guess, but I'm Irish. I look kind of Irish. But yeah, I did that forever growing up. That was my shit. And then looking for colleges. I chose Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo because I just like the vibe. And that is basically how I choose my vineyards now too. No, I liked it here. I visited a lot of colleges and I didn't get amazing grades. I had like a 3.6 or something, but which does not qualify you to get into Cal Poly these days. But back then I could get in under the ag business category. And I chose Cal Poly literally because I liked the area. I didn't think about what I wanted to do or what I wanted to study really, but ag business was a way I could get in at that time in 2004. And so I moved up here and was partying, drinking Franzia probably out of a box when I was 18 maybe to 21. And I just
RIP, by the way.
Oh, no longer. I don't follow. But is Franzia no longer, or who RIP'd?
He passed away recently, the guy that started.
Okay. Great business guy. But anywho.
Yeah.
The box lives on though.
The box does live on. I mean, I mention it for a couple of different reasons, but no, I definitely liked wine. If that's what you call that. But I just was like, I think I like drinking actually. And I could study viticulture, wine growing, and still graduate in 4 years under my ag business degree. And I just thought that was super cool. I loved my ag classes. Originally, I thought I was gonna like move on from ag. I mean, coming from San Diego, I think I had seen like a pumpkin patch in a flower field. So I really had no idea, but I loved all my ag classes. And then I got into the viticulture, and really the program is not what it is today. I think I had like 10 viticulture classes in all my 4 years, and I kind of got by. And but I guess I'm going away from your question, but or I'm continuing on your question. But yeah, then I got a job at L'Aventure, and that's really what like solidified me in.
Let me pause you there. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, am I frozen? Sorry.
Okay, no. I think it was on my end. So I need to go back to Irish dancing real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, national champion?
Well, like when I say national champion, I didn't get first, but I placed, you know. Uh-oh.
That's outstanding. Do you still get a chance to practice today?
No, but I did a little jig on St. Patrick's Day.
Naturally.
If I have enough wine, I'll do a little.
Maybe before the end of this, it would be a first on here.
Depending on how much wine I consume during this hour, yeah.
Right.
Well, I also was, I think, trying to argue to Mike that your property would be a good location for one of the upcoming parties. And
yeah.
Should that happen, could we get a commitment to a few steps, a few moves?
I don't commit to anything. I don't like to commit, but if it happens, it's like a good, everything's good. It's good vibes. I'll do it if I'm feeling it.
Fair enough. So you got into wine. Franzia was an early exposure. Before we go any deeper into wine, what's your favorite non-wine adult beverage?
Non-wine adult beverage. I drink a lot of beer, I'd say. Like they say, it takes a lot of beer to make good wine. I subscribe. I can't really do mixed drinks that often. I just drink them too fast and I get too drunk. I don't. So
any favorite beers? And I warn you before you answer.
Yeah.
You might get people in this group showing up with whatever beer you say the next time you come to visit. So.
I know it's like kind of cliche, but I like a hoppy IPA. I don't love like anything malty. So I just like hoppy IPAs, and I like Pilsners. I'm not really discriminatory except when it comes to malt. I don't love malt.
Got it. Good enough. And plenty of hoppy IPAs out there that you may see arriving from this group on future tastings. So let's move over to wine a little bit. As we're starting the transition, do you recall the moment when you had the thought, this is a career path I'm interested in, and what might have triggered that?
I think, I don't know if it's an exact moment, but I think my whole time at L'Aventure was really telling for me. That's when I knew that I wanted to be in the wine industry. Am I freezing? I feel like I'm freezing.
No. Yeah. There's a little bit of that. I thought it might have been on my end though. I don't. Okay. Mike, are you noticing anything?
It looks pretty good to me.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Okay, good.
No, I'm not getting anything on this end.
Okay, good. Okay. Good.
Let me know. Well, yeah, at L'Aventure is when I really realized that this is what I wanted to do for a living.
That seems like you're into it quite a bit by that point. You've gone through school for it.
Yeah.
And then you started.
It was a tiny bit of school. It wasn't like my full schooling. It was like ag business, wine industry. I was interested. I was like, oh, I got the degree. I can do wine. I wasn't really committed. I'm really kind of a go with the flow kind of person. And I think I'm a yes girl. I say yes to things. And I think that's what brought me here. I was just like, yeah, let's try that. Yeah, let's try that. Okay. But when I was at L'Aventure, I definitely decided I was like looking around. He makes really good wine. You guys probably all know Stephan Asseo of L'Aventure, French guy who moved here from Bordeaux. Yeah, you know. Um, and I was like, you make amazing wine, you drink really well, you eat really well, you make a product from the earth, different every year, relates to nature. You're working hard, you're tired at the end of the day. I liked working with like on my feet. I liked making something. And that's basically what kind of solidified. I basically was just like, hey, Stephan, like I want to steal your life. I want to copy you. I don't know. So that's when I kind of realized, I think that was my like aha, I guess you'd say.
Understandable. So, tell us how true this statement is. In a previous recent call, a Mr. Jacob Toft, I think, maybe out of some pride in how successful you've become, I think takes a little credit for bringing you on board there. Is there any truth to that story?
I worked with Jacob for like, I don't know, the whole time I worked at L'Aventure, he was in the tasting room. And I worked in the tasting room, but also in the cellar and in the vineyard. And I worked with him every day for like 5 days a week. So yeah, for sure. Credit to Mr. Toft. Yeah, he guided me for sure and definitely had a part in my whole being enamored with the wine industry. He like taught me he taught me how to sell wine, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't think he was trying to take credit for anything. He was quite proud of
oh no, he's like,
accomplishment.
he's my brother.
Yeah.
He's my older brother for sure. My older brother I never had, yeah.
And also your Tin City neighbor.
Yeah, right next door. It actually, it's so funny. It's kind of like full circle. Stephan was actually at the winery the other day and Jacob was over, and it was just like such a weird feeling to be like, oh, remember in 2008 when I didn't know how to talk about it, you know, I didn't know anything and you guys just taught me everything. It was a good moment. Yeah. Guillaume too. I don't know if you've had Guillaume on here at all from
That's good.
Coastal
So
and- oh, sorry.
we've had Guillaume on, and I'm going to come to that because I know you spent some time in his hometown working. So I'm coming back to that in a minute. But I know we mentioned some box wine. Was there a particular wine that was kind of memorable to you or that made a lasting impression that really kind of changed your opinion about wine?
Yeah, it's funny because this is a kind of a normal question you get asked as a winemaker. And I do have a wine, and it's weird because I don't love Viognier. But I had a Condrieu Guigal when I was over there studying in France, and I tasted it and I didn't know what it was, and I found out it was Viognier, and I was like, this is Viognier? Like Viognier can taste like this? And I was shook, I guess. It really made me realize the sense of place is such an important component to wine and where it's grown and who made it and how they, you know, what barrels they used and how they fermented it really makes a difference.
Larry has a bottle of it. He was just showing. Show it, Larry. There you go.
Oh, hey, look at you. Yeah. Honestly, it was definitely I was very impressed and very in awe that it was so different from all the Viogniers that I had had previously.
Okay, so now we're starting wine journey. You mentioned L'Aventure, but you've globetrotted quite a bit. So tell us about, prior to your label, you started L'Aventure, then you head down south, right? You head to Australia?
Yeah, right after L'Aventure, I went to Australia. Yeah.
So
Uh,
how was that experience? And what was what was kind of most shocking to you about what you had experienced already in wine down under?
yeah, down under, I worked for Torbeck Winery, and it was just a harvest job. Like it was 3, 4 months maybe. Um, and there were 10 interns there. So, and we all lived in a house together, and we were all 10 interns from around the world, which was shocking enough. I mean, I was very used to French people. But you know, we had people from all over the world, and it was a big winery. So I think what a lot of people don't realize, like Torbeck's expensive, right? It's pricey. The wine, I think they have $800 bottles of wine. However, it's giant. And it really was well done. They did a really good job, I thought, of making a big winery feel small, which is quite a feat, I think. It felt like we were making all the wine. I mean, I wasn't just like kind of not Torbeck's woodcutter. The Shiraz, I don't know how much that is, like $25. I don't know. That's the lowest level. But they have run rig, they have some crazy bottles, but it was all made in the same facility. There's 2 wineries, but it was just to see a huge winery and their ability to market themselves as if they were kind of a smaller winery. Because going over there, I assumed like, okay, L'Aventure were like 8,000 cases ish, like we're fancy. I was kind of thinking it was going to be the same, completely different. But it was cool. It was a unique experience, and I'm glad I did it. But it was big.
So from there, your next stop, you may have come home first, but your next stop is to south of France, right?
Yeah, you did your research. Good job.
But you had already spent time at L'Aventure, so I'm guessing you already knew Guillaume at this point.
So Guillaume actually taught me how to make wine. So
Okay,
he was
so
the
you
assistant
Guillaume.
winemaker under Stephan, and Stephan's kind of scary,
Right.
right? Like he frightened me. But Guillaume is such like a nice, sweet man, and he definitely like kind of took me under his wing. And when like Stephan would be yelling and I couldn't understand his French accent, he would like whisper to me like, "No, go do that." So no, Guillaume is, yeah, he was in the cellar. So Jacob was more in the tasting room and Guillaume was in the cellar. And yeah, I love, we call him Gigi.
So did your Guillaume connection have anything to do with you next going to his hometown?
You know, it wasn't, I didn't go to Narbonne. I went to Narbonne, but it was Montpellier. I guess his hometown is Narbonne, which is like a little bit away from Montpellier.
Sure.
But yeah, no, that he didn't really, I mean, he wrote one of my letters of recommendation, so that helped. But no, mainly I went there because that's where the program was, and it was an awesome program, 16 different nationalities in a class of 32. So I was really intrigued to go do that and learn from teachers from all over the world. Yeah, but it did help because I got a place to live with him at one point.
So if somebody was heading to France later this year to do wine tasting, could they hit you up for some suggestions on where to go?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Right.
If you have a general idea
Right.
of where you're going, I mean, I have a lot of friends in France, and especially from that program. I'm actually headed there at the end of this month, and I'm going to go see my friend at La Fleur in Bordeaux. But anywho,
Oh,
yeah, I have a
nice.
couple of friends around, so let me know.
Nice.
Definitely.
I digress. Yeah. So I don't want to take the time on my trip, but I do want to know you spent a lot of time in France thereafter, right? Before going to Italy.
Yeah, about a year and a half.
So tell us about your other stops in France, and what is different from France that was different from Australia and was different from Paso?
Well, everything, but no, France, it was really hard to adjust, I think. Moving to a different country. I like left a boyfriend here. It was so sad. It was a good thing. And just like having to adapt to a completely different place where you don't know the language was really, really difficult. Wine speaking, I think, okay, so this is, I don't know if this is like a hot take, but I do think that French people are bad at marketing. I think Americans, we really know how to market things. We know how to sell. I don't know what it is, but when I went there, I was like, this is so cool. Why don't you tell people about it? Like, why doesn't everybody know? I was working at this little chateau and it was all organic and they had all these really cool vineyards. And I was like, I've never heard of you. No one's ever heard of you. Like, why doesn't everyone know? They don't care is the thing. They're happy and they're not greedy. I don't know. It was a really cool experience. I loved France. France was one of my favorites. It was mostly the program that I was in. It was mostly Montpellier in the south of France. And then we got to study for about a month in Bordeaux at the university there and had other teachers. But what was really cool about this program, if you know anybody that wants to get their master's degree in enology and viticulture, please ask me, because it was all these different nationalities in one classroom for a year and a half. It was kind of like a job. It was 8 hours a day. But we had different teachers from all over the world come. They would come every week for a group of teachers and teach us different modules like microbiology or even from everything that we did. And it was just really, really interesting to see what the Germans thought, what the Spanish thought, what the Portuguese thought, and how they taught and how their style of everything was a super cultural experience that you can't just get by going to Davis or even Cal Poly. I'm sorry. But and it was actually cheaper than your master's in California.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Surprisingly.
But yeah, no, France,
So
I love France. I'm a big French fan.
So if you're going to France and you can only go to either Bordeaux or Southern Rhone or Northern Rhone, where are you thinking?
What time of year?
You call it.
Hmm?
You call it. Your favorite time of year.
October.
October. Oh, that's gorgeous. I love the south of France. I mean, if you're first time going to France, go to the south. People are warm there. They're open to tourists. They will welcome you into their chateau or their winery. It's more of a new kind of new wine region. They're willing to like do a tasting for you or, welcome you into their home and
when we say new, we're saying their wineries are older than our country is still.
I know, but I mean like their marketing and tourism, they're open to that new world style, I guess. Whereas in Bordeaux, not so much. You got to know people, you got to like email all the people, call everyone, call all the favors you got. I barely got it. I went to school with this guy for 2 years and he's like, I don't know, maybe I will get you into my winery. I'm like, come on, bro. But that's the difference, I think, from like Bordeaux and the south of France for like hospitality wise. But honestly, if you have the chance to drive along the Loire River, you're like, the Loire is awesome with all the giant castles that you're driving by. You can go in some of them. It's so, so cool. Loire was like one of my favorite regions. And just like kind of surreal. You're like, am I in a fairy tale right now? It just seemed fake. It was
that's a good tip. You didn't stop there. You went over to Italy next.
Yeah. Italy, the Northeast Italy. Udine was the city I lived in. And it was in Friuli, the region Friuli. So a lot of white wine. It was right next to Slovenia. So colder. It wasn't that cold when I was there, but colder region, really good white wines. And that's where I really got into like natural winemaking. I don't like to say natural, but just like low sulfur, no like wild yeast, no fining, no filtering, a lot of amphora use, a lot of organic. I worked for an organic viticulture consultant there. And I love North Italian food. Big fan.
So is law after Italy then?
Yeah, then I came back. I actually had a Zoom, or it wasn't
Sorry,
Zoom.
freeze up.
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. I
I
hear you.
had a Skype interview with Scott Hawley when I was in Italy before I graduated, and I got the job. He's like, I knew him because I used to work and live at L'Aventure, and he used to make his wine at Booker, and so we were neighbors kind of. And so I had emailed a couple people, and he emailed me back and was like, oh, I have this really cool project that I'm working on. It's brand new. I need an assistant winemaker. So I got that job when I came back, and I worked there for 3 years, and it was,
And that law was his new project.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Law on Peach Canyon, and it was brand new facility. It was rad. I had never seen a facility. I mean, I'd seen a lot of really fancy ones, but I never worked at one like that, and got to open a facility like that. And I learned a lot about electricity and plumbing that I never really thought I would learn. I don't know. It was just like this brand new building with like all this crazy infrastructure that I had to learn. And that was really unique, I thought. And I don't know, that was a great job. Yeah.
And then how do you get from law to Desperado?
I decided that I would like to make my own wine. And they wouldn't allow me to do it at law. So I was like, peace out. I'm going.
Valia is famous for supporting her team making
Yeah.
wine.
And I knew Valia from before, and I was neighbors with Russell in college. And so I moved over to Desperado and
Is Russell still in college? You just act like it.
that's debatable. Ask Valia. But yeah, no, they've been awesome. They've been super supportive, and she let me make my own wine there and also make her wine at the same time. So I did that for 4 years, and then moved over to Hubba in 2020. So
So Hubba starts 2020. You're also helping with Monochrome, which is an exclusively white.
All white wines.
wine,
This last year was my last year at Monochrome. Dave is now winemaker, but I was the consulting winemaker for the last
okay.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah, we have him on in 2 months.
Oh yeah. Awesome. Great. No, he's
right. June. Yeah. June. He's on in
awesome.
June.
Yeah. It was a really fun project.
Yeah.
Got to experiment and try a bunch of different white kind of styles, varieties, fermentation techniques, and he was into it. So he was a fun client for sure.
So I'm struck by your international experience. You've truly kind of bridged the old world, new world, right? I mean, from almost the newest of the new world to the oldest of the old world. And just to transition over to the Hubba label, I feel like that's somewhat reflected in your wine, and I don't know if I'm seeing this right, so correct me if I'm seeing it incorrectly. But I think of your current lineup, you don't have a wine that's more than 14.2 ABV, which feels a little old world to me. And I don't know if that's a nod to old world or you as a winemaker in this kind of trend lately. I'm just tired of this, this super hedonistic 15-16% Paso stuff. Tell us about that. What is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, sorry, I feel like it's slow on my end, so I apologize if I'm interrupting. Yeah, I like a lighter style of wine. And I don't know, probably because I spent so much time in Europe and drinking European wines, but or maybe I just drank too many Paso wines and I was like, oh, I'm done. Oh, it's so rich. And but I love all wine. Like I'm not really a hater for any kind of style or type of wine, but when it comes to what I want to drink every day, I want to drink a lighter style. I want to try new fun varieties that I don't see every day. I want to experiment with carbonic. I just like to experiment too. I mean, I think winemaking is really fun, but it gets boring if you're doing the same thing, same kind of like recipe wine over and over. So yeah, I think a lot of people see that I worked at Law and L'Aventure, and they're like, they come to Hubba thinking they're going to get the same style of wine, and it's completely different. And so I've had some people, when I first started, when I first opened up, people were like, this isn't like Law, this is a lot lighter. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I like. That's why I have my own thing. But yeah, so I kind of make the wines that I like to drink. And I feel like that's pretty authentic in a way that, like, I'm not trying to be anybody. I'm not trying to do any specific kind of style. I'm just doing me. And hopefully other people like it.
Right? I mean, that's the reason Stephan came here, is because you can do that here, and that's kind
Yeah.
of unique, right?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Speaking of new and interesting and exciting varieties, Cabernet Pfeffer, am I saying that right?
Yeah. Cab Pfeffer. Very new and weird and interesting. And there's only 8 acres planted in California.
So can you give us a taste profile of?
Yeah, a little bit. It's my 21 that's in the tasting room right now. I think I picked it a little bit too early, so it's not as peppery as it should be. The 22 that's in barrel right now, I waited a little bit later to pick, and it's way more peppery. So I'm really excited to bottle that one. But it's a light peppery cab, if that makes sense. Pfeffer means pepper in German. It's a German guy who crossed, they think, Cab Sauv and Trousseau. They think. It's not anywhere that's like, yes, this is Trousseau and Cab, but that's what the internet says. And it is almost like a Nebbiolo, like when you have a Nebbiolo that's like light and you're like smelling it and you're like, oh, rose petals are like lighter aromatics, yet when you taste it, it's super tannic. And that's as like close to anything that I can describe it to that anyone would really know. But yeah, come taste it.
I like cold weather cold weather Syrahs for that kind of peppery element to it. So
Me too. I really like a pepper. I like pepper in my wine. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about you made kind of a casual reference to how you select a vineyard. Can you tell us more about how you select a vineyard and how you select what wines you're going to make for each vintage?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, it's definitely about a vibe when I go to a vineyard. I do like to work with smaller family farms. Like I like to speak to the grower, and it's really nice when the grower is the owner too. It just I'm the winemaker and owner. It just works better. Like it's more of a symbiotic relationship when we both have skin in the game and we're both really interested in the final product. I get way better kind of feedback and just communication with growers like that. And so I try to work with smaller family owned and operated farms. I only work with organic farms. or I try to only work with organic farms. Some of them are certified, some are not. Some like Bassetti, they're like 14 acres, so they're not going to certify for their 14 acres that they already have pre-sold. But, and I do understand, like, I get it. I'm a realist. I'm a realist. I don't know. I'm a dreamer, but I think, I want like, I buy organic food. I want to eat organic food. I want to buy fruit that's farmed organically. And for me, it's preserving the land. And you can be organic and an asshole. I'm not saying like all organic is good, but when I buy from smaller family farms, I trust their farming practices. I trust that they're trying to leave their land how they found it, or they want to leave it for their generations to come. They're not trying to round up the hell out of it and then be like, I'm good, kid, sorry about that. I just think when you're doing things intentionally, you're not doing it wrong if you have an intention. But yeah, so organic, family owned or smaller. I like smaller. And then when you go there, I got to get a vibe. I got like, you can just feel energy, I think. I know that's kind of woo-woo, but I don't care. I'm kind of woo-woo. So yeah, you feel it. You're like, you go to a spot. If you've ever been to a vineyard and you're like, there is some magic in this place, like you can feel it. And I think all the vineyards that I buy fruit from, there's some magic. So I know that.
Are you doing any long-term contracts with the vineyards? Or are you making decisions year after year?
I have a couple, like, contracts is a strong word. I have a couple long-term handshakes. But no, not yet. I'm so small that I'm buying like 3 tons, maybe 6 tons at the most from a place. So not yet. In the future, I think I probably will have to, just to like reserve. But usually the people that I'm buying from, I get asked the next year for, like, if they're doing good business practice, they'll offer it to you first. So yeah.
Generally speaking, the wines that you're making, do you have guidance on how long they should be cellared? Are they more approachable or beyond? What's your guidance there?
My wine, I try to make it so it's drink now. I have no patience, so I'm bad at cellaring my wine. I have a couple that I do, but my wines are very high in acid and and low in alcohol, so they will age nicely. However, all my wines are pretty light in tannin, especially compared to like the other Paso wines. So drink now. I think they're usually, I will tell you, I think the Graciano and Morved blend that I did, it has a blue label. I saw, I think, was it Julie who had that?
Julie.
In the background, but that's the Luna Mata Vineyard Designate. And that one for me on my wines is the one that will be the most ageable. I would save that one if I could. But for the most part, like, I like to drink my wine. I drink it now,
That was big points on the match game, picking out who had the bottle.
Was that Julie? I don't know. I thought
it
so.
was Julie. Yeah.
Okay.
Well done. So we're always intrigued to know, what is the most challenging part of the wine business?
Probably the business side of it. I know how to make wine, but I don't think I really thought it through that I was gonna like have employees. And yeah, I just was like, I want to make my own wine. This is what I want to do. I know what I want, but the whole business side of it has been a huge learning curve for me. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm really bad at email. I know a lot of winemakers say that, but I think the business side of it, just everything business, the whole thing. No, it's very hard. I don't know. Beatrice actually at L'Aventura used to say, if this was easy, everyone would be doing it. And so that makes me feel better when I'm like frustrated or, like, why did
Well,
I?
speaking of employees, my last visit to your place, I had exceptional service, and I believe believe it was your mother that took care of us.
Was it Mother Hubba?
Yeah, it was indeed. And she
She's
was
number one.
fantastic.
She's number
Yeah.
one. She's the best. I mean, I named my winery after my family name. Like I love my family, and which I think is pretty unique to like your family that much. I moved them up from San Diego. They're here now. And I'm trying to like recruit all my family because I think we're really fun and cool. But
By
yeah,
the
my
way,
best.
San Diego's a pretty great place to live too. So that's a pretty compelling thing if they're all moving away from San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, the traffic sucks there. Sorry if anyone's from San Diego, but no, I don't know. They're in it. They're like my parents help in the cellar a lot during harvest. They're like sorting fruit. My brother, when he's in town, he worked for Scott Hawley for a long time. He helps me. My sister works at Booker. She helps me when she feels like it, that kind of thing. But yeah, family owned and operated, and I don't think I'd have it any other way. It's fun.
That's great. Really.
So um, I really enjoyed my experience there. But for those on the call who have not had the opportunity to come to your tasting room yet, I love the indoor-outdoor piece, especially the huge patio you have, and obviously Lubbers loves you, and they're probably my favorite pizza in Paso, by the way, and
They're amazing.
great that you anchored them there. But share from your perspective, what's tasting experience like at your place?
So I like a more casual tasting experience. I know there's a lot of places where you go and you sit down and you talk to the people and they're hanging out with you the whole time. I don't like that just personally. And I try to do everything that for Hubba, like what I would want. And so yeah, it's pretty casual. All the girls I have a lot of new girls right now, so we're training them on all the knowledge, but for the most part, they can answer any question that you have. Or I'm there if you have a question or want to know more, but pretty much it's like kind of you relax, it's outdoors, you enjoy 5 wines in the flight, and you can eat food during it. I don't care. I think wine is meant to drink with food. I mean, so I'm not like a stickler on, no, you have to taste my wines without food. I'm like, yeah, go for it. Order some pizza. Yeah, it's just more like fun vibes. I like, we have live music starting the 21st of this month, every Friday from like 5 to 9, throughout August. So it's just kind of fun. I like fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It was a fun place, and I know we've got people on here from all across the country, but if you haven't been there yet, I highly recommend it. And it's not, to your point, it's not pretentious. It's just good wine, a friendly atmosphere, in a very relaxing setting. At least that was my experience. And we've got
That's what
people,
we're saying.
we have people on our team that Dimitro, for one, I think Jennifer too, are huge advocates of yours and are always kind of internally raving about your stuff, and and club members too. And I want to talk about your club in a second, but I want to one last question, and I'm going to talk about your current lineup and club. This has become a favorite segment here on these calls, and it is your pro tip or pro tips for those that are consuming wine. Anything that you can advise that will help them consume it better, whether it's in a tasting. What is a pro tip that you might share?
Pro tip. I do think you probably have heard this before, but I think a lot of people consume red wines too warm. I think a red wine should be, I like cellar temperature, which is like 57 degrees, which might be a little bit too cold for some, but I think it's always going to heat up, especially if you like want it warmer. You can always put it in the like palm of your hands, but I like a cooler, more chilled red to then warm up throughout my drinking experience. I think a lot of people, I don't write tasting notes for my wine. I find it to be a little bit distracting for like the newer drinkers who don't really, they think that they should taste, this is white, so I was gonna say blackberry, but just like whatever the note says they should be tasting, but no, it's like wine is the most subjective thing. It's food. I mean, like, do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you like? And I think to know what you like, you just have to drink a lot, taste a lot.
The tasting notes can get pretty detailed and confusing, and people are going, I don't get that one, and they or there's a little bit of tire rubber. Well, what size was that tire? What wheel size was it? Like get into it that deep and it gets kind of lunacy, right? So
I mean, I think Stephan said it the best. He said, wine is about pleasure, and that's it. Like, you like it, you're having a good time, that's good. I feel like, and I just saw a note, somebody said Valia's tasting notes, they're pretty awesome, they're on point, but they're on the verge of like, not making fun of tasting notes at all, but like they're taking it to a different level and just like making you think a little bit more, which I think is really fun. But yeah, I think, and they're not saying like exact fruit that you should be tasting. It's more of like experiences and whatnot. But yeah, I think wine should be pleasurable. And when you're going out wine tasting, you should be having a good time. Like, don't take it too seriously. I think a lot of people think wine's so serious, and it's fermented grape juice, and it's fun. It's very interesting. There's so much history to it. There's so much to it. There's so much decisions in making a wine that it's really special. But I feel like a lot of people forget that it's fun.
Well, I think those are great pro tips. And we got a few minutes left, and we try to open up for questions if we can at the end. But before we do, can you talk about what your club looks like, and then anything you want to share about your current lineup?
Yeah, my club is pretty standard, and as far as clubs go, it's 6 bottles twice a year, 15% off, free tastings when you come in. I do a 1 party in spring. I do like a standard shipment for everybody, that I think is like a good assortment of the wines that I bottled that vintage, but I let people pick and choose for now. We're pretty flexible on whatever you want, you can have. And we just released our new shipment. So if you want to sign up, go for it. We got the new wines on the lineup, and it's fun. I have a brand new Merlot that I made for the first time, which is interesting. And I did 100% cab as well. I don't know if I'll do those again. It's just kind of the wine club wines I make, like some of them are really, really small production, and they'll just go to wine club, and I won't ever have them in the tasting room. But also
where did the Merlot and the Cab come from?
Both of those were from Masa Estate, which is an organic vineyard up in Carmel Valley, in between Arroyo Seco and Carmel, off Kashawa. And I can't say the name. I think it's Kashawa. That's how you say it. But yeah, it's right in between Arroyo Seco and Carmel. But it's a really, really cool planted in the 70s organic vineyard. But yeah, I hope you guys all come take, or you guys are far away. Buy the wine online. Also, if you don't want to sign up for the wine,
but I think they probably all come to visit one time or another. They probably
okay.
on this call.
Well, the rest of this month, I have a Wine Fanatic promo code that you type in, and you get 15% off. So you get the wine club discount if you want to just try it before you sign up. So
thank you for doing that too.
Yeah, of course.
That's very generous.
Hey, Riley, is that good in person too, for those of us who are coming to the party in a couple of weeks? We can pop
For
in?
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the girls know. Wine Fanatic. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, well, any other questions? Feel free to either raise your hand or drop it in the chat.
Go ahead, Demetrio.
Shelly's coming to see you in May.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I'll see you very soon for the pickup party, Riley. But I think for those people who have not been for a tasting room, you like mentioned two things that are other attractions. One is your dog, Pancho. It's a special experience, and the boxed wine.
Oh, I forgot about the box wine. Yes. So yeah, thank you for reminding me. My dog is banned from the winery. He was a bad boy, and yeah, it wasn't good, but he's not allowed there anymore. But he's adorable. We love him. If he is there, if you do see him, be careful. He's kind of an asshole. But no, but the box wine. So I do for like when people come and they just want a glass of wine and pizza, or if they're coming for the concert and just want a glass of wine and they don't want to do the tasting or a bottle of my wine, I have wine on tap that is it's called the Crossing wine, and it's basically collabs with my neighbors and friends from around Paso. And so it's a rotating tap list of my friends' wines, and it's on tap. It's like a keg system. So you can have a glass, you can have a carafe of that, or if you want to bring it home, if you try it and you like it, it's a lot cheaper. And I do by the box. I have 1.5 liter and 3 liter boxes, and those are not online. Those are just at the winery.
Pick up
Or
on
if you email me, I will ship them, but just, you got to email. But yeah, and it's ever changing. So if you're interested and you live far away, just email me and ask me what I got on tap. And yeah, it's a 2-bottle and a 4-bottle box to go. So back to my friend.
Right. Julie's asking, where do you source your Graciano from?
That was Luna Mata in 21. And and Luna Mata unfortunately got bought, and so they're no longer selling fruit. And so this past year I got it from Lopi, which was the old Sorensen vineyard, if anyone's familiar. It's on Peachy Canyon, organic vineyard. But I don't know about this year. I'm figuring that out right now.
Tim is asking if you can take a group of 10 in May.
Yeah, email me.
They have a lot of space, though. A lot of space.
Yeah. Yeah, we do big parties. We try to take them before noon just because big parties get crazy, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, we do large parties, and the thing with big parties, we just ask that all the tasting fees are paid on one card. So the girls aren't, spending a half an hour just, paying for tasting fees on one card or on multiple cards. But
Makes sense.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Anybody
We have
else?
no more hands up and no more questions in the chat. So I'll just say this. Thank you, Riley, for such a great conversation and all the insight. For those who haven't been, I highly encourage you to go visit. It's a great experience and delicious wine. And thank you all for joining. And Mike, I'm going to turn it to you for anything you would like to wrap up with.
I just want to thank Riley for joining us, but I was happy that she replied yes. I think everybody enjoyed you. It was fun.
Thanks for having me.
That's what this group is about fun, some fun.
Into it.
Not taking things too seriously. And I think you fit the bill, right? So it was really a joy to meet you, and I'll try to stop by there the next time I'm up.
Yeah, come hang out. Yeah, we'd love to have you guys.
Yeah, I was there. I was going to walk over, and I was at Toft in November and just didn't get over there. So
Toft is kind of a
when I'm towing other people
you
with
get
me.
sucked into Toft. I get you.
Yeah, it was a long walk. I know.
Yeah, but yeah, come hang out. We're there Thursday through Monday, 11 to 4 for tastings, and then Thursday and Friday we're open to 7 for pizza and like by the glass or bottle, and then starting on the 21st is when we have our Friday night concert series. So
Okay.
Nice.
Anybody have any other questions? Well, thank you, Riley.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have a good
Thanks,
Thursday.
everybody. Anybody wants to hang for a few? Michael Kelly, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Somehow I had
Oh, you just muted.
Yeah, we lost you, Michael.
up. Let's see. Are you there?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay. Yeah, somehow I thought it was at 7 o'clock, not 6 o'clock. So sorry.
We
Yeah,
can re-drink and do this again.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got the Hubba.
I can do a playback right now.
I thought we would go till 10 o'clock